The Serapeum of Saqqara is one of the most enigmatic underground structures of ancient Egypt, a labyrinth of massive tunnels and chambers holding colossal, gigantic sarcophagi, the purpose of which still puzzles historians and archaeologists. Located within the Saqqara necropolis, this ancient site is believed to have been the burial place of the sacred Apis bulls. Yet many mysteries remain. Who built it? When it was originally built? How? And why were these immense sarcophagi placed here? Was it really used for sacred bull mummies? This is one of the most mysterious ancient structures in the whole world. Let's explore the secrets of the Serapeum. But before you start, don't forget to press the like button. What is the Serapeum? The most common opinion that the Serapeum of Saqqara is a temple and underground necropolis dedicated to the Apis bull cult, a key part of Egyptian religious tradition. The Apis bulls were believed to be earthly manifestations of the god Ptah, and after death, they were mummified and ceremonially buried in enormous stone sarcophagi. The Apis bull cult was one of the most significant and enduring religious traditions in ancient Egypt, lasting for over 3,000 years. The Apis bull was believed to be a living manifestation of the god Ptah. It was believed that the bulls were incarnations of the god Ptah, which would become immortal after death as Osiris Apis, a name which evolved to Serapis in the Hellenistic period, and User-Hapi in Coptic, and played a central role in Egyptian religious and state ceremonies. Let's explore the origins, significance, rituals, and mysteries of the Apis bull cult, as well as its connection to the Serapeum of Saqqara, where these sacred animals were buried. However, beyond its religious purpose, the Serapeum holds many unexplained mysteries, from the sheer scale of its construction to the massive, precision-cut granite sarcophagi, some of which weigh over 80 tons. Some researchers believe that underground galleries and chambers are way older than the time they were attributed to. This opinion based on some similarities in the Serapeum architecture with other underground structures in Saqqara, like the labyrinth of Hotep-Sekemwi. Some people believe that huge granite and basalt sarcophagi were made for ancient giants. There are many theories regarding the Serapeum and its sarcophagi, including various fantastic opinions. Like for me, based on my personal experience with this mysterious place, I can understand why so many theories exist. It's really difficult to explain how ancient people with primitive tools could build something like the Serapeum and its sarcophagi. Where is the Serapeum located? The Serapeum of Saqqara lies in the heart of Saqqara, Egypt's vast necropolis near Memphis, the ancient capital city of Egypt. It is situated west of the Step Pyramid of Djoser, approximately 20 miles south of modern Cairo. This underground complex of galleries and chambers is hidden beneath the desert sands, with a long corridor stretching hundreds of feet into the rock, connecting a series of burial chambers that house massive hardstone sarcophagi. Who built the Serapeum? I believe that many pharaohs of ancient Egypt built some parts of the Serapeum. The Apis cult dates back to very early times, possibly founded by Pharaoh Menes around 3000 BC. But we don't know if early dynastic pharaohs built something in the Serapeum. However, the Serapeum underground structure looks similar with underground structures of early dynasties in Saqqara. This is just an observation, not a fact, but we can make some assumptions, looking for future evidence. The most ancient burials at the Serapeum, found in isolated tombs, date back to the reign of Amenhotep III of the 18th dynasty in the 14th century BC. It's worth to notice that there were small isolated underground tombs. We don't talk about the galleries and chambers of the Serapeum. These small tombs located around the main underground structure, and mostly are not connected to each other and to the main underground structure of the Serapeum. Kamweset, working as an administrator during the reign of his father Ramses the Great 1279–1213 BC, in the 19th dynasty, ordered a tunnel with side chambers, now known as the Lesser Vaults, to be excavated for the burial of the Apis bulls. A second gallery of chambers, now called the Greater Vaults, was commenced under Psamtik I, 664–610 BC, and of the 26th dynasty, and extended during the Ptolemaic dynasty to approximately 1,150 feet in length, along with a parallel service tunnel. From Amasis II to the end of the Ptolemaic dynasty, the sarcophagi for the Apis bulls were made of hard stone, weighing as much as 62 to 80 tons each, including the lid. A long avenue, flanked by 370 to 380 sphinxes, almost the same, like at Karnak Temple in Luxor, likely was built under Nectanebo I, the founder of the 30th dynasty. It was the last native dynasty in ancient Egypt. Some of the sphinxes are survived, and now we can see them at the Louvre Museum in Paris, France. The Serapeum was abandoned at the beginning of the Roman period, shortly after 30 BC. Strabo, 64 BC, 30 AD, noted that some of the sphinxes of the dromos had been covered in sand by the wind. Apis bowls continued to be buried elsewhere in the Saqqara and Abusir region until the 3rd century AD. Arnobius, around 300 AD, mentioned that the Egyptians penalized anyone who revealed the places in which Apis bowl lay hidden. The looting of the Serapeum started at a time when hieroglyphs could still be read, as the names of the bulls were scratched out on many of the stelae. All tombs, except 2, were plundered and desecrated. The bull mummies were torn to pieces, and stones were piled on the sarcophagi as a sign of contempt. Let's take a closer look on the Serapeum structure and dimensions. The Serapeum of Saqqara is a vast underground network of tunnels, galleries, and chambers, stretching for approximately 1,250 feet in length. The complex consists of 2 main galleries and a few shaft tombs. Not all underground structures are connected. Some of them were located separately of main structure, but they all were located underneath the temple, which was destroyed by the time. And now, we can see only flat sand desert almost without any remains over the underground structures. How many chambers and sarcophagi are in the Serapeum? It's a good question. As for now, we believe the Serapeum contains around 37 massive burial chambers, each designed to hold a single sarcophagus. However, only 21 of these chambers contain sarcophagi today, as some were possibly looted or removed in antiquity. These sarcophagi, carved from granite and basalt, are truly colossal in size and weight, with some reaching 13 feet in length and weighing over 80 tons. Also, there are a few wooden coffins and limestone sarcophagi where sacred bulls were actually buried. It's very important to notice that all 21 gigantic granite and basalt sarcophagi were found empty with no evidence of burials. What are the dimensions of the Serapeum? Total length is approximately 1,250 feet. Width of main corridor is approximately 16 feet. Height of main corridor is approximately 15 feet. Size of individual sarcophagi is up to 13 feet long, 7.5 feet wide, and 10.8 feet high. Weight of sarcophagi is between 60 and 80 tons each. As you can see, the Serapeum is really huge, and the dimensions of the main corridor are the same as modern subway tunnel. The train can easily go in. The size of the Serapeum and sarcophagi is unusually huge. And explanation for this kind of architectural resolution doesn't truly exist. The enormous sarcophagi. Who built them and why? The massive sarcophagi found inside the Serapeum are among the largest stone-carved objects in ancient Egypt. They are cut from solid granite and basalt, transported from quarries hundreds of miles away, possibly like Aswan for the granite ones, but we are not sure. The biggest mystery? They are far larger than the Apis bulls themselves. Many Egyptologists question why such massive sarcophagi were needed for a single bull. Could they have served a different purpose? Some researchers believe the Serapeum may have had a deeper ritualistic significance beyond just bull burials. Some people believe that sarcophagi were made for ancient giants, but we know it's just a beautiful fairy tale. Some of these massive sarcophagi have inscriptions, but it's impossible to attribute these sarcophagi by its inscriptions, because quality of inscriptions is way worse than quality of the sarcophagi surface. And we also know that a lot of ancient sarcophagi were usurped in the late period. Reusing of sarcophagus was a common practice in the late period and Greco-Roman time. Anyway, the most of sarcophagi don't have any inscriptions. In general, I can say, almost all of sarcophagi have perfectly finished surface. All sides, inside and outside, are polished to the mirror. You can see your own reflection in the side of sarcophagi. All facets are well aligned, flat, all corners are perfectly shaped. I was taking measurements of sarcophagi, and I can prove it's high-precision work sample. However, some facets have imperfections, as caverns, size like an egg. These caverns are also well polished. We were thinking on these caverns' origin, and only theory we have. These caverns are marks of dripping water. But how long water is supposed to drop on basalt to make this kind of caverns? I don't think 2,500 years is enough. It looks like this process can take significantly longer. So, I concluded for myself, the age of sarcophagi is unidentified. They are way older than we used to think. This theory doesn't answer the question, who built these huge sarcophagi? I don't know who, but we are continuing our research. And our team has some new materials for analysis. And I will tell you I have something new. Another intriguing question, how were the sarcophagi moved and placed? Each sarcophagus weighs up to 80 tons, yet they were transported deep underground through narrow tunnels. The ancient Egyptians would have needed an extreme level of engineering precision to lower and maneuver these gigantic stone coffins into place. No definitive evidence explains how they moved these sarcophagi into such tight underground spaces. Some theories include wooden rollers and ramps, but this is difficult in a confined underground space. Levers and counterweights, but would require an enormous workforce. Lost ancient technology. Some alternative theorists speculate on unknown methods of stone manipulation. There is one unfinished sarcophagus in the corridor. You can see it on the picture. Ancient Egyptians left the sarcophagus on the halfway, didn't bring it to the chamber. On the first look, when you see the sarcophagus, you may think, this is the answer. Ancient Egyptians were moving this huge stone sarcophagus. The evidence is right here. But if you think deeper, what do we see here? It was not successful try to move the sarcophagus. Ancient Egyptians were trying, but left the sarcophagus in the middle of corridor. They could not do it, but it was good try. But then, who and how moved the rest of sarcophagi? I don't know. Nobody knows. People thinking about it, and there are a lot of theories. Some of researchers have idea that sarcophagi were buried in limestone plateau thousands and thousands of years ago, and ancient Egyptians only found ready sarcophagi buried underground, and they built all these corridors and galleries to gain access to sarcophagi. And of course, it became sacred place. They built the temple and started to worship. Another suspicious thing. Why were sarcophagi found empty? When archaeologists first explored the Serapeum in the 19th century, the most of sarcophagi were sealed but empty. We observe a similar phenomenon with the sarcophagus of Sekhemhet, the Pharaoh of the Third Dynasty. When Zechariah Gonem opened sealed untouched sarcophagus, it was empty. It was so shocking for Zechariah because he expected to find a mummy of ancient pharaoh in the sarcophagus. But it was empty. So why it happened? What could it be? Were the mummified bowls stolen in antiquity? Were they placed for a ritual purpose rather than actual burials? Could the Serapeum have served a purpose beyond just animal burials? The lack of remains inside many sarcophagi has fueled speculation that the Serapeum may have had a symbolic or ritual function rather than simply being a burial ground. You know, the mummified bowls were not stolen. They were never placed in sarcophagi. All sarcophagi are mirror clean inside and don't have any remains, and to know any marks, nothing. These sarcophagi were never used for burial purpose. This is a fact. Why? The simplest answer. Because ancient Egyptians found these sarcophagi with lids on them, sealed. And they didn't have any possibility to move the lid from sarcophagus. It's too heavy. And it's not enough space in chambers to use any mechanical tools to help to open the lid. That's why ancient Egyptian could not use these sarcophagi for burial purposes for their apis bowls. I have to say also, archaeologists found in the Serapeum a few buried apis bowls, but they were buried in regular wooden coffins, and they were mummified according to religious traditions. This fact also proves that ancient Egyptians just did not have any possibility to bury apis bowls in huge granite and basalt sarcophagi of Serapeum. They wanted, but they could not. Were there connections of the Serapeum to other underground structures? The Serapeum has architectural similarities to the labyrinth of Hotep-Sekhemwi, another underground complex in Saqqara, built nearly 1,500 years earlier. Both structures feature long corridors with side chambers, precisely carved underground tunnels, massive stone-cut chambers. Could these structures be part of a much larger, interconnected underground network? Some researchers believe there may be undiscovered passageways linking the Serapeum to other ancient sites. In general, the Serapeum looks like a part of vast underground city in Saqqara. By the way, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Maybe the Serapeum served a greater ritual purpose? Some alternative theories suggest the Serapeum may not have been purely a burial site, but rather a ritual initiation center or a place of spiritual transformation. The massive sarcophagi and the grand underground structure may have been designed for something like energy rituals related to the Apis bull cult or symbolic tombs representing cosmic rebirth. Also, it could be a secret mystery school of the ancient priests. Of course, the Serapeum serves for a greater ritual purpose. Many people believe the Serapeum is a place of power. Many people come to the Serapeum for meditations, and even just to touch the eternity. I respect these beliefs, but religion doesn't explain how the Serapeum was built. Though mainstream Egyptology remains cautious, these theories keep the mystery of the Serapeum alive. My conclusion is, the Serapeum remains a monument of unsolved mysteries. The Serapeum of Saqqara remains one of the most mysterious underground structures in Egypt, even in the whole world. Its colossal sarcophagi, unexplained empty tombs, and massive underground tunnels continue to intrigue historians, archaeologists, and mystery seekers alike. While many questions remain unanswered, one thing is clear: the Serapeum is a testament to the engineering genius and spiritual depth of ancient Egyptian civilization. And maybe some other civilization we don't know yet. We continue our research projects of ancient Egypt, so we're going to solve some mysteries soon. Don't forget to click the bell below the video